Hello and welcome to another episode of Motors for the Masses, and Bob is back and so is Malcolm. So roll the intro and let's get cracking.
Crack! So before we start, you may recall in the last video we discussed having paint ready for this video. However, we couldn't decide what colour to go with. And we did discuss having a satin gunmetal grey over the entire thing with maybe some accents here and there. But we got to talking and then thought, well, maybe the olive drab would be nicer, or maybe just go with satin black, or maybe even a satin burnt orange, which would be really nice. So we decided to turn the decision over to you guys. So if you go to our Facebook page, just search Motors for the Masses on there, there will be a poll. Just choose whichever colour you think out of the ones we've discussed is most preferable, and we'll go with that. You may also recall from the last video that we discussed getting some grips for the Mars. However, because we couldn't decide on the colour, we couldn't decide on the grips, so we didn't get them. Simple.
Sorry.
You may also recall from the last video we said about making a cardboard, what's it called? Mock-up of the rear light cowl thing. We did do that, only it's 3 months ago and it's been lost and gone.
It's been flattened and kicked around and used to pick up dust, I believe, at one point.
Yeah, so that's gone. So today we will build a steel version of that.
Without a cardboard cutout?
Without the cardboard cutout.
Yeah, get that.
Also, I'm just going to trim this out a little bit more.
Sorry about the ambient noises.
There's a forklift or something. Because at the moment, although the bolt fits through there, you can't quite get the socket in the right place. So we're just going to trim that out a little bit more. That's for the bolting down the seat. We also discussed the brackets for the seat, which again, we can probably knock up a basic bit of that today. We'll see how we get on. And finally, front mudguard.
Yes, front mudguard. Well, we've had an idea on that. We've got the other piece of this mudguard still going spare. So what we're going to do is use this as a basis because of the nice curve, but we are going to cut off the sides and make it thinner to go with the thin front wheel. So that's coming up too.
Excellent.
Right, let's crack on. Now, as you know, we usually use mic packs, and the reason why we haven't is we've actually broken them 3 times whilst working on the bike. So we don't want to break any more because it gets very expensive. And even though Malcolm keeps fixing them, they don't last that long. So we're only using those for the reviews we do and some other stuff. But when we're working on the bike, unfortunately we use the boom mic. And that means we pick up ambient noises. At the moment, nothing. Typical, isn't it? Sorry.
There's something.
There is. What is that? So the first thing is to cut the notch out of here and make this slightly wider so we can get that seat nut in.
So having cut that out, we need to trim this piece of rubber to suit, I guess.
Is that the right way?
Well, I don't know, because there's a taper on here. And I assume the taper goes around, look, which way around do you think it goes?
No, that teeters that way.
Right.
So as it angles that way, it must go... It still teeters that way, but only...
Well, what angle did
teeter, 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 or... Teeter, teeter, teeter.
Well, this angles down towards the back, doesn't it?
Okay.
The angle of the tank, I would imagine.
I would say it's more that than that. Yeah,
Right,
probably that
trim.
way. Trim the back off, not front.
On the teetered side or not teetered side?
The non-teetered.
Not teetered side. Just cut it off with the scissors. I do, isn't it?
Yeah, nice.
As long as the bolt misses it on there, then we're laughing. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, moment of truth. Let's get the seat on and see where it sits.
Well, the idea is, as long as we can get to that nut on the underside,
we need to be able to get to this. So that needs to be clear so we can get under that, take the seat off without having to remove the tank and all that nonsense and the plate. So as you can see, there's the nut there, and that now fits on in that gap.
we just need to get rid of the edge of that rubber.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine.
Okay, good. Now you may be thinking at this stage, what's the point of that? Surely you just take the seat off and take the tank off at the same time. Well, yes we do, but this is to mount the plate, because the plate doesn't want to come off all the time. That needs to stay in place. And we can't mount that plate with all that in place. So the plate goes on and that will stay there. And then if you ever want to take the seat off, you can just take that off separately. This way we can get to the bottom of this plate and make the mounts for this and mount this to the frame and then put the seat on afterwards. Does that make sense?
It makes many senses. So that goes in there, and we should be able to get up there underneath and put the nut on the stud.
Because how are we mounting this plate to this?
There's just going to be two little brackets.
Two little brackets, welded on.
Welded onto the seat base.
Yeah. So that'll be a permanent fixture.
And probably bolt it to that, maybe.
I can't ever see any need to take this off, because we can always get into the side panels, this side and that side, and then we just take the seat off to be able to get the tank off.
There we go. So that's now
There we
bolted
go.
on.
So this plate will always be in place. Oh, just to add as well, another reason is because then if you take this seat off, you can't because it's bolted in, but if you take the seat off, if you want to take the seat off.
Well, the bolt that holds the back of the tank
I was going to demonstrate.
you can't get to because the seat's in the way.
Exactly.
Which is why we've made it so you can remove
So
this.
demonstrate.
I'm doing it now, look. So you undo this nut and the ones at the back there, but they're not on at the moment. And you just whiz that nut out of the way.
Remove the seat.
Remove the seat. Just lift it up at the front, there you go, and then out the back.
So when it comes to mounting this plate onto this frame, we have a bit of a dilemma in ourselves. We don't know. We had that plastic, not plastic, what's it called?
It is plastic.
Alright, but strong plastic
Yeah, I can't remember
block that you can screw a thread into. Now we might, because it has to come up a slight touch, we might make a block, put a thread in and have two round little blocks on here, or we need a bracket and we can weld the bracket to the frame and then it goes up here and then up here and then bolted to this. But we need some really strong metal, because once say a 16 stone arse has sat on that, it needs to be strong enough not to bend it. So we need some really strong metal.
And it also needs to have clearance for the two back seat bolts.
Yeah, to be able to get to these ones under here.
Yeah.
So we're having a thought on that, and whilst we're thinking on that, we'll get on with the light. So to make the cowl for this, we need to obviously have enough to go round the outside of this to fit perfectly, and to have enough space at the bottom to put a bracket on to mount this light to. So as a rough guide, just to know what size we want to cut out, if we go for 10 inches for now, so we have a 10-inch piece wide, that'd be enough to be able to put that in there and have a bracket on the bottom. We can trim it down afterwards, 10 inches and then 10 inches that way, because we're going to go down. It's going to start up here and go down to a point, but we've got to put a seam down it, close it in and then weld it on here. So if we go for a 10 by 10 to start with, and then shape it from there. So we found something that's going to do the job to be able to shape the metal. Now this is 65 millimeters in diameter, and so is the bottom of this can, like 65 millimeters in diameter. Perfect. So we can shape our metal round this can. We just have to be careful not to hit the nozzle, because otherwise we're going to end up getting covered in white primer. That'll be fun.
Don't worry, I have a solution.
Aha! Well done. Smart ass. How close do we want this to the mudguard?
What, up and down, you mean?
Yeah. About there?
Quite close.
I've got black stuff in my tea. What is that? There's a bloody spider in my tea!
Nice. Trim it down to fit.
So, what size do we want this bracket, do you think?
Well, that thing's 65, isn't it?
Yes.
Across the, whatever that is,
About
diameter.
there. Yeah.
So from there to there, what's that? It's going to be like, I don't know, 70?
Yeah, well, like you say, it needs to be inside the cowl.
Yeah.
With a kink in it, so we can put the two support braces on.
Well, yeah, I'll just have extra bits on there.
Yeah, I think 70 will do.
70?
Yeah,
so
70
we'll do
works.
70 wide with two tabs that stick up that we then bend up to 90 degrees and we'll weld it to the back of that round bracket.
Okay, so we're going to cut a piece of metal out that's that with two metal tabs on it.
Yep.
We'll bend them up
Yep.
and bolt them through to here.
We'll weld it onto that.
Well, okay. Right, yeah, works.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, so now you've finished playing with your wobble board, what's all this about?
Okay, so we've got a 70mm wide to curve over the arch. We've then got 30mm deep, just because, and we're going to drill a couple of holes in and we can bolt that down to the bracket under the wheel arch. And then these tabs here, the longer one of the two I've decided, by the time we've cut down the middle and curved that, they'll kind of, when it's bent up, they'll move out. So then create like a V to attach to the back of the bracket on the light.
Cut there, and then slice down the middle?
Yes.
Right, okay.
And then when we curve this piece, with them bent up at 90 degrees, they'll move apart like a V.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will it be enough of a V?
Well, we can trim it, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Are you kidding me? What an arse.
So with our bracket made, this is going to go on here. So we just got to cut the tops of these off to suit and just weld it on. So it'll be something a bit like that-ish. Yeah, all good.
Is that going to be that thickness? Or is it going to be thinner?
No, we'll leave it like that. Because the light's going to be sticking out way over it.
Well, okay, alright. So that's all good, but what's going to stop that flexing? I know it's quite strong, I know, but what's going to stop it sort of flexing under bounce?
Well, we can just bash some dents into the underside of this corner.
Oh, okay. Sort of strengthen it to stop it.
So put a dent there and a dent there, and that will make it stronger but also stop it fatiguing.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. So we'll do that, we'll bang it in a vise and hit it with a chisel or something. Job done.
Okay, right. Brilliant.
This helps if you hit it straight. It's quite strong, this bit of metal.
Yeah.
Whilst the bracket is cooling down from its welding, we shall cut our square to form the cowl for the light. We decided would be 10 inches by 10 inches and then we'll trim it down.
Why are we doing stuff half in inches and half in millimetres?
Because we're British.
Oh, we reserve the right to do that.
Yeah, pretty much. The Americans do everything imperial.
Right. Well,
The continental Europeans and all the rest of it do everything in metric, and we're sort of stuck in the middle. Yeah,
yeah.
we're stuck in the middle, aren't we? This pen is rubbish.
Sorry about that.
That's mine.
Alright, well, I'm not sorry about that.
No.
That's done, is it?
Yep.
I think you'll find this it needs the finishing touch.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Even got some shields for the side there.
That's the light down. Perfect. Look at that.
There you go. Our job here is done. As if you weren't making enough noise already.
We've got them grinding out the other side now.
Jeez.
Anyway, in all seriousness, we need to make it curvy and nice.
So that is going to bend. That is huge. That's way too big.
Well, yes, it is, but this end has got to be quite high, and by the time you bend it down, yes, it will need to be trimmed, but we need to trim it to the shape of the arch.
Yeah.
After it's been made the shape we want. So, for example, it'll be curved, and then the end will be cut and brought in, and then the side bits will need cutting and bringing down to match the top of the lamp.
Okay. So what's the first port called?
Bend it.
Bend it.
Bend it.
Right. Where's our can?
Down there. Let's try it. Let's see what happens if I just bend it. What do you reckon?
Go.
It's bending the can.
Is it?
Yeah.
I did say that. I said it would bend the can.
Only because my thumbs are pressing into it.
The end bit is the bit we need.
Yeah, I'm going to move down here to the piece of wood.
See, who needs benders? Rudimentary technology. Look at that, look.
It's alright, isn't it?
Yeah. Like a little tunnel for a train set.
Yeah.
Can't see you out shot. There we go. That's it.
Okay.
Right, wait there. Light. What we need to do really is mount that to the bracket.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be up there, like that.
Yeah.
We're in vlog mode.
Vlog mode.
We hate these vlog shots, don't we?
Yeah.
I don't know why we're doing it.
At least must.
Yeah.
So there we go. We've got a doodah and a lamp. For the most part, fits in there nicely.
Now we can't tell how far down we want to go with the bracket until we put the actual bracket on, so let's do that now.
Yeah.
Right, so whilst we're waiting for that to dry, what's the plan, do you think, for this?
Well, we need to make this piece
Uh-huh.
straight, so it sits up top with the lamp facing straight back.
Yep.
So we need to cut a notch out of the side, wherever, so we can then bend this entirety down to meet the profile of the arch.
Okay. And then on the sides?
And then the sides we'll just cut it on however it needs to match that. We'll just keep trimming it until it fits.
I think it needs to go like a bow.
Probably.
Like that. So if it starts here and then sort of bows up like that, and then if it comes to a point up here, then we just flare it out so the natural comes down like that and then round like that on each side.
Maybe. It might just be a case of cutting it off. Problem is with that, it's going to be very steep. Are we all right with it being very steep?
Well, it's not though, it's because it's long.
Yeah, but it'll still be steep because you've got to think it's going to be going from about where my thumb is there to there.
Yeah, but you've got to think it's not this high. Once we've got that bracket in, we're going to have to cut
It's
off.
going to be from about there
Exactly.
up here.
Yeah.
But down here it's way down there.
Yeah.
So this is going to be quite steep.
No, not really. Because look, if that's there like that, it's got to go all the way up there like that. That's a long sweep.
But this end
It's going to be down here.
needs to be way down there.
Yeah. So if that's what I'm saying. If we cut it here, along there, like that, to there, in a gradual sweep, by the time you get to here, it's going to be flared out. So this will be quite flat.
Yeah.
In fact, we might not have to bend this at all because it's already got a curve on that. There might be enough down here.
Just to match it.
But we're going to have to get the cutting right. Like you say, if we start here...
But you're going to be starting right on the very point, aren't you? And then coming round and then doing whatever it's got to do.
So if we start where it needs to be, at the height it needs to be, the maximum height it's going to be, and then just cut straight off, and then just keep pushing it and measuring it and measuring it. And then if we just shape it whilst it's still at that level, and then once it's shaped to this and it sits on it, we can then just cut the shape we want ourselves.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. You can just transfer the line that you've made with a pen or whatever and
Yeah.
move it further up.
So obviously we get the right height for where the bracket's going to be on the light.
The only problem
cut
with
straight
that,
across, and then flatten it, or sorry, shape it to the shape of this, and then because then it's going to be like that all the way down. And then all we need
The shape on the side will be different to the shape on this side because this curves.
Oh,
over.
because of the slit in here and the angle down.
I'm wondering if it's worth with this one, this piece, just make the back piece, make it fit, and then just bend up a new piece, which is only about that wide, just to make that piece going over the lamp, rather than messing around trying to cut the shape out of this one.
I see what you mean, but if it's one flowing piece, I think it'd be nicer.
It'll never be one flowing piece because in order to cut the notch out of this, it's going to have to be cut right to the top anyway. So there's going to be joins all along it. It might pay to make this one fit from the back up to this point.
Yeah.
And just cut it off so it's straight at this point.
But the only problem with that, we've got to make, when it gets to here, we've still got to shape it to exactly the same as that bend there.
But it will be, won't it? Because it's already here.
So why not just leave it as one piece?
Because it won't be one piece because you're going to cut it to bend it
Yeah,
over.
but it's still going to be one piece to be able to. I think, personally, I think we should keep it in one piece, cut the slots in, angle it down, and see what we've got. If we think no, do you know what, this is too awkward, then we can go with the.
By which point you've already cut it and you've got to make another one.
We've got to cut it anyway.
Well, no, I don't mean here. I mean, at the moment, we've got this entire length to play with. If we can put it on there and get this back piece down onto that bit,
Yeah.
and then work our way along until this sits down at the right level, cut it straight, and then just make another one of these, but thin, just pop it in front and tack it on. By the time it's on there, and we can maybe even do it in a couple of stages as a curve instead of thing. But if we cut this,
Right.
it's then become 2 inches shorter straight away.
So what you're saying is, don't cut the curve in here. Just use this as the shape,
Yes.
and then attach it to another piece, which is basically that width all the way over,
Yeah, the bit that goes over the
and
line.
weld it on the end.
Yes. I think that will be easier than trying to mess around trying to get that curve and the angle right.
Okay. So what we need is a piece the width of the light,
Yep.
with a little bit more,
Yep.
by 10 inches.
Yep.
Let's do that first then. All right. Okay.
We may even be able to roll an end on it, roll an edge on it as well to get a nicer finish on the end
Okay.
before we bend it.
All right. Let's do that then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right then. So what we're going to need is another piece that's 10 inches, like it was before, so we can match that up. Now that's 50. So if we say 60 to add 10 mil, be enough to make the curve over.
Well, give it another 10 mil. Make it 70.
Why?
Because if you've got a bit extra there to play with, you can just trim it off.
God, if I'd have said it was 70, you'd have said no, make it 80, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, but 70's fine.
Right, okay. Well, we're mixing it up because obviously we're British, we can do that. So we're going to go 10 inches that way and 70 mil that way. Is that better?
Yes.
God's sake. Sorry, Darwin's sake. Right, so with that now mounted in the bracket, now don't be alarmed about this in here, we can just move that notch and turn that around. I did mention that earlier, but Malcolm sort of bypassed that information, and we can adjust later.
Yeah, that's what grinders are for. Okay, so we need to work out how high our arch thing needs to be.
Yes. So, we go mil or inch?
Let's go millimetres.
75.
75?
Yeah. 75 mil.
Okay,
I assume that's in the centre.
close enough. It probably wants to be bent over a bit actually, doesn't it?
Why?
Because it's pointing sort of upwards.
Not really. Do you want to stand or hold the bike up?
Not really, but
Not really.
we don't need to do it. It doesn't make any difference.
Well, all we need to do is.
Yeah, that's what I mean, just tweak it down a little bit.
I don't think so.
That will affect the height of the front of the lamp.
I don't think there's any issue, to be honest.
No, just leave it there.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Where are we from the... Oh,
You're not going to do it.
there. Okay, so if I hold it there... Yeah, 75.
Okay. So we can transfer that onto...
Alright, well, if I hold that in place, and just stick that over the top. Okay.
I'm just going to measure 75 from the top.
Right, so, piece cut. Well then, are you sure you've measured it properly?
Yep, 75.
Right. It needs to make sure it goes... no.
Oh, I measured it 75.
Let's take measure.
They're not fit. $75.
Right, and measure that.
75.
Hang on. No. Yes, the centre is 75.
Oh.
But this is curved.
Yeah, so it needs to be longer at the sides.
Oh, hang on. No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Come on.
Which is part of the plan.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Because that's the bone on the top.
No, exactly. This bit we put on here, we just make it slightly longer and curve it to meet up with this.
Yeah, which will be aimed upwards.
Which is sort of there. So that bit comes down like that. No, yes, that was the plan all along.
And that's going to be on more like...
Exactly, yeah, it's fine.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, quick, do that before someone notices. Quick.
Yep, it's all good.
Is it not better to do the bit over the thing first?
No.
Why?
We'll get this to fit, so it's on the thing where we want it, and then we'll make the other piece to match up to this.
Oh, okay. So then we can cut whatever length we want to match up
and do whatever curvature it needs to match it up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm just going to cut little bits off of this at a time until it lays down on this spare bit of arch.
Okay.
And then once it meets at the back, in the middle, and the front on the new corners that we've just made,
so this,
then it's fine.
The bit you're cutting off is the back.
Yes.
So towards the seat.
So I'm going to start from the back, or the front of the bike.
So the seat would be here.
Yes.
All right.
Can they even see that?
Possibly. They can now.
So if this is the back of the bike, the light's up here.
Seat back here.
Yeah. So we're going to start on the back point, cut a bit off on each side, sit it down, cut it off again, keep cutting until both the middle of the back and the front points.
We know it's going to come to a point. So why can't you just start in the middle and cut that way rather than all the way down here?
Because I don't want to risk having to keep cutting bits off of it. I'll shape it right at the end with the flat wheel.
I'll tell you what, you do it and I'll just stand out of the way.
Okay.
Because then if it goes wrong, it's your fault.
Yep.
Now, the piece that's going to go on here, obviously this is just a mock-up, it's not the actual piece. So it needs to be 75 in the middle, but not either side. So what we need is a flat piece to go across the top, and then I'll measure from here down to the edges to know what length they need to be. Obviously we can make it slightly bigger at the moment, and then reduce it bit by bit until we've got the right height. So I need a flat piece of metal. So with that on top there, like so, we're looking at 95.
Make it way too big and trim.
So if we make it 100 millimeters, yeah? Go on, say it.
Well, yeah. Which bit is this? Is the bit to go over the light or the bit in the middle?
The bit to go over the light. So I've basically, on the top there,
Yeah.
if it's flat along the top, it's actually about 95 either side.
Yeah, so yeah, to 100.
So, oh really? I thought you were going to say no, make it 110.
Well, I'd say do the next bit slightly bigger because it might have to have an angle on it. So.
Well, it's going to be, that's to the actual lip here, to the top. So if we make it 100, the other bit's going to be shorter. So 100 is the maximum it's going to be. Width-wise, how far back does that go now? Yes, we can make it huge, I get that, but I don't know how far back that's going to sit.
Well, if we get this in position in a minute, and we can take some measurements, because I'm pretty much done getting it to the same profile as the arch.
Okay. Okay.
That sits down on the back of the arch down there.
Pretty good actually. And if it goes to, you want to go?
I'll probably trim some of that off.
We can actually go a bit further, yeah.
But we want enough to
No,
get a nice angle.
Yeah, so
the
maybe
further back, the better.
there. So if the corners are in line with the the edge of the
Yep.
bracket, and then it'll be enough to come over here and then slight angle. That's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to hold that there then? Now bearing in mind it's going to be slightly longer because of the curve, so if we go for about 130, that's 130 with a curve, and then we can always trim it.
Well, we're not going to actually be able to curve it. It's going to have to just be an angled piece.
Well, it's going to, between there and there,
a flat bit?
between there and there
an
is
angled
50.
bit. Yeah.
And then 100 takes it just over the edge.
Yeah, but just do the bit over the light, and then we'll make a filler piece to go in between.
So you want 3 pieces?
Yes.
Oh really?
So there'll be the bit over the light, this piece, and then the piece in the middle, which will be like a weird triangle shape that we'll put in there. And
Okay, alright, in which case then the bit over the light is going to be 45,
plus a rollover.
so 50 by 100.
Because that's the one we said, just make it 70.
Okay.
Because then we can make the rollover, curve it,
Yep.
and then trim the back off
Right,
to make it
so
the
this
size we
bit,
want.
we'll do this bit first, 50 by 100,
Yep. Well,
and then
do
get
it
that in
longer.
place and then measure the gap.
Yep.
Okay?
So once we've rolled it and trimmed it, it'll be 50 by 100.
Yep. Right, so we have our piece of metal here, and we've now marked here at 50 mil, so we know where the roll is going to be, and we'll shape that to go over here, and then cut the right length, and that will just fit width on there with a nice roll. So let's do that now. So now with the rolled edge, it's time to shape it. Okay, so that, just slide that on there, that should fit quite nicely. However, I feel we're probably going to have to put a bit of foam around there, otherwise when you're riding
You shouldn't do.
you might get a bit of that.
The actual archy bit is going to be completely welded down, and then that's going to be bolted down. It's pretty sturdy, it's not going to go anywhere.
Okay.
And it should have a little gap around it anyway. But if it comes to it, then yeah, we'll just put a little bit of foam around the light.
Okay.
So we just need to cut this down to fit over the lamp properly. So we're just going to cut that much there off of each side. Simples.
Loving the theory.
Well, it should work. I'm going to say...
Is that a shaky hand measurement? Or
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm going to say...
Make it slightly longer.
Yeah, I'm going just above the thing. I'm going to cut 20 mil.
Because we're going to the lip rather than the edge.
Yeah.
So it's slightly raised.
I'm going to go 20 and then we can just shave it a bit.
Okay. So what are we thinking? Too small or not enough?
Well, it should be too big. Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. It's actually pretty close. About another 5 mil.
Yeah, so I'll just shave a little bit off of each side.
Yeah, you use the other wheel, the flattening wheel, rather than the grinding. Okay, so you've had a shave.
Yep.
Are you confident?
Yep.
Well then. Oh, look at that! That is spot on.
I'll do it.
Fantastic.
So, with that on there, and that back there.
We need a bridge.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time and batteries.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you can see where we're at with this. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a chance to do the front mudguard because this has taken quite a bit of time. But I think it's come out all right. Now, we are going to have to put a bridge gap in there, which we will do in the next video, and get that front mudguard done.
Yep. And
So-
some brackets for that.
And some brackets for that. So thank you very much for joining us. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. We'll be back next time with a car review and a bike review. So please, until next time, ride and drive carefully.
But have fun.
Bye bye.
Ta-da!